Sure, I'd love to. So first off, I have a lithium battery, 12 volts, standalone. When I'm not running the system, I turn the dial this way, allows me to charge it via the 12 volt bus of the car. When I'm ready to play my system, I turn it this way, so this powers all these relays and all the circuitry. The idea is that the 12 volts going into this amplifier, because it shares a ground with the high voltage, is completely separated and bifurcated. That way, if something ever happens, the amp's short, anything goes wrong, that's the only battery that'll be affected. It does not leak back into the 12 volt bus of the car. Next, as I mentioned, relays, all this fun stuff. Here I have a wireless ammeter voltmeter. I'll show you how it works in the car. This is a thermistor. So when I first turn on the high voltage, it goes through this little relay here. The idea is that it limits the inrush current. Otherwise, 400 volts would slam into the capacitors of this amplifier, potentially damaging components. So when I flip the switch, I'll show you in the car. First, this guy turns on, lets the voltage slowly trickle in over about 500 milliseconds. Then we have the main relay, which allows the main power into the amplifiers. Right, going into the car, into the dash pod. We have main power. This powers up the console that I built here. And we have the voltmeter. This is the 12 volt bus of the car. Car is at 66% charge. So let me turn the car on. We'll see this jump because now we have the DC to DC converter of the car powering the 12 volt bus. So now it's powering the main battery, the 12 volt battery, and all that fun stuff. We have a fan. It's very silent, but this allows me to cool all the circuitry here. So during summertime as I'm driving, when the mirror gets hot, it runs cool. I have the camera. Backup camera. When this turns on, you'll see that that's how I see through the rear, because I don't have a mirror here, because I have a subwoofer box. This is my camera that I use. Has DVR, also has forward-facing camera. So, all right. Sensor. This powers this little display. This gets the wireless data, ammeter, voltmeter, voltage, all that fun stuff that I showed you back there. And now, in order to run the system, or I also have an LED, allows me to run LEDs inside the car when I play music, strobing, etc. So, in order to run all the circuitry back there, I have to flip it on run. If I flip it on charge, it allows me to charge that lithium that I showed you. So now the system is ready to be activated. HV is our negative. This connects the main negative to the main traction battery. And you could probably hear the big relays back there clicking. So those are big 400 volt relay. They'll take up to a few hundred amps. These are the 12 volt circuits to the remote sensor and the amplifier. This will go up to 12 volts. Here's the reason why. The 12 volt circuitry of the amplifiers are not being powered by that little battery. And when I flipped all that on, it turned this on, turned the amplifiers on, and now we have 12 volts going from that battery via the common ground through this guy, powering these guys. So 12 volts is on, still no high voltage. Now finally, pre-charger. Once we do pre-charger, that's the main 400 volt battery into the amplifiers. You can see it's slowly going up, going down depending on the temperature of the thermistor. And now, once I flip high voltage, that's the main high voltage bus. So we have 386 volts right now. So these are live, dangerous. Secondary voltmeter here, so I can visually see it. We can see the relays are on, powering all this stuff. So now everything is running and armed. And turn it off. Just like that. Forgot. Important. Also got to turn these off. in case somebody decides to touch stuff. All these capacitors and things are still charged for a few minutes. They slowly have to discharge. So don't want to touch that.